my name is Gudrun from GA Designs. Welcome to my live quilting chat, Tipsy Tuesday. Hi everybody, thank you for being with us now live on YouTube and Facebook again. Yay! Am I still in jail? Yes, but we found a back entrance. So we are here, happy to be here. And thank you all that are watching us on Facebook now and those that stuck with YouTube. There's, pros and cons to each one. So just excited that we're all here together again. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you follow our page because you get notified on Facebook and join the crew. If you're not in the crew, Gudrun's Quilt Crew, our group on Facebook. But of course, if you're on YouTube, subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you get notified whenever we go live. So thanks again, everybody. You want to stick around throughout the whole show because we have 2 giveaways throughout the show. One from all your comments. So a live winner every show, $25 gift cards are up for grabs. So one live winner from just all your comments. And then the second will be from a giveaway question that I post at the end. So on today's show, we are of course focusing on our strip along. We're strip teasing our way through the world. And we'll play with part 2 of the strip along. I will show you some tips on how to make that second block and have it come together very effortlessly. So I also have, of course, some great new fabrics to share with you. But let's start with our giveaway from last week. I asked you a question that was, what is your favorite car of all the ones that you've owned? And the winner is Miss Jennifer Evans. She said, my first car is my favorite, 1988 Pontiac Sunbird. Fire engine red, stick shift. It was a low-end car, but it was new, and it represented freedom and accomplishment for me. Yes, how great is that? I did not have probably that great of a first car. It was a Mazda 323, 1979 model, and I could have actually started with a quarter if I wanted to. It was red with a blue door because my dad, I bought it, but my dad made me buy it from a salvage. It was a salvage piece. He fixed it for me, but he took me to the salvage yard to buy all the parts. And I had to buy it. And, I wasn't spending money on painting that door. It was a blue door. It worked fine. So that was it. Loved it. Say hello to Mr. HP. He's, of course, running the show and
Hi,
dancing,
everybody.
as you saw in the beginning. So we are going to be having fun with you tonight. Spring finally arrived in Minnesota this evening, I swear. We were sitting outside on our deck just enjoying the sun being out because it's been a really dark and gloomy April. And so finally there's some hope in the world, I swear. That sunshine just does something to you, doesn't it?
Yes, makes you dance.
Oh, makes you dance. Just makes you happy. Warms you up from the inside out. All right, let's start with the quilts that are on the set today. Right behind me, this side, this one. This is a tailor pattern. We've been playing a lot with tailors. This is out of a Luminary Sea bundle. I love the colors of this, the deep oranges with the blues and then a little bit of sea foam and that coral colors. Fun ocean themed. So it's a beautiful quilt, perfect for summer, perfect for that, picnics, cabins, beach house, whatever. Or anybody that just loves the ocean and all the creatures that live in it. So love this one. Then we have, we have some up-close photos because the quilting pattern on this one is really cool. Now, I forgot to note which one it was, but it's kind of like these ocean currents, these swirls. We will definitely post what pattern was used on this. It was an Urban Elements, I believe, edge to edge, but isn't that cool? I love these fabrics, just love them. They're so happy. So then we have, in the corner, I still have spring treats up there. That was there on Friday. This is Saga out of the Spring Treats bundle, and we did on Friday, if you didn't notice, there was a perfect pairing offer on the Spring Treats bundle. Discount it and you get the pattern, Saga pattern, for free as a PDF download if you purchase the bundle, both on the Spring Treats bundle, which you can see the quilt up close here in this photo, or portion of it. Quilted it with fun little daisies and loop-de-loops. And then there's the Stay Gold Saga. And so either bundle will give you the pattern free. So both bundles are discounted until supplies last. I saw that there's not many left of either one. And so if you're interested, snatch it up right then. On the cabinet, I have the window seat table runner from Fast and Furious Club Season 3. Just this year, it was the February project. So that is, of course, if you were a part of Fast and Furious Club, either the trimester or the full 9-month subscription, you have this pattern, but it's also available on its own. So let's see what it looks like. So you just find that on the website under Fast and Furious Club Season 3. There's the table runner, and we do still have, I think we have only like 1 or 2 kits left of this one that's on the screen, the Love Blooms. And then we have the one that's on the cabinet is made from I think it's called Songbird. And so we have a few kits left still of that, but we only have, I was just looking for it. The bundle, it's not Songbird. It's something else. No, I'm just totally blanking on it. We have like 2 bundles left of that bundle, and I love these colors. Absolutely love them. So that is it. I want to start off, before we get into the strip along, I wanted to start off with a little update on the Hope for Ukraine blocks and quilts that you've been making. Now, just because we're getting a lot of emails, so I just want to clarify, we have not started accepting blocks or quilts or anything yet, and we won't until later this summer. So when I have figured out all the logistics, as you know, I've been a little busy, and so we have just not had time enough to put all our things in place and get everything going, but we are starting work on that already. So if you are ready with your blocks, I would just encourage you to keep making blocks, sew them together into a quilt top. If you have the skill or the opportunity to have them quilted and finished, you can get them done, of course. And then you can either hold on to them, or if you find a great place in your community or a larger organization to donate your quilts or auction your quilts and donate the proceeds, go ahead and do it. I am not going to micromanage what you do with your donation quilts. You don't have to send them to us and wait until we have everything in place. I'm thrilled. Whoever gets them, just excited that quilts will go to great places where they will be loved and appreciated. So if you, however, don't have these options, just wait patiently for a couple of months and we will lay it all out for you, all of our resources. So until then, I wanted to mention we still have a few of the Ukraine bundles left, and just know all of the net proceeds go to our fundraiser. So snatch one up. It's 6 half yards, 3 yellow and 3 blue. So they are great for your stash, whether you want to make more Ukraine quilts or not. And so we appreciate it, all of you that have, and I will keep it on the same price. It's actually underpriced because these are brand new fabrics, and as we all know, you probably noticed all fabrics have been going up and up and up this past year, and it's going to keep going up, unfortunately. But we underpriced this bundle just because we wanted it to be more accessible for everybody to be able to contribute. So just wait on that, and hopefully we will get all our ducks in a row and make sure that we have everything lined up for when there is time. But please don't wait. If you are ready, go ahead and do whatever you want. There's all kinds of resources out there. I know already, so just go ahead and do what you do. All right, so let's move on into our strip tease. So I've been loving seeing all of your starts to it. I loved seeing all of your fabric pulls. There's going to be some amazing quilts. All very different. Some people going rogue, which is awesome. You know, you all know I highly encourage rebel behavior. So I actually went on the Facebook, you know, through the back door and collected some of the photos of your block 1 in progress or some done. Some of you went a little bit ahead, which is all good. I'm not gonna slap anybody's fingers. It's all good. But I put them all together in a fun slideshow. So I think we should kick this off before we go further into our strip along, that we should check out what you have all been doing this past week. How great was that? I loved seeing your progress. There's going to be some amazing striptease quilts coming out of this. Now, how many of you are now experts at the folded corners? Did you try a few different methods out of all the ones I showed you last week? That'll be fun to hear, so tell me in the comments. You know, I have to say, I tried a couple. You know, I was showing you I had my laser on my machine, but I tried some of them by cutting and sewing as well. And I have to say, those actually for me turned out a little bit better than using my laser. But the beautiful thing is, with this particular block, even though your units, when you sew them together into the block, on their own don't look very nice, they're a little off or whatever, it doesn't matter, because when we put them together, let me show you, we put them together in the block, nothing is matching up. We have spacing between the two, so it's okay if they're not perfect. There's always that little wiggle room. So I wanted to just tell you that. Don't fret it. Keep going. Just if one or two don't turn out exactly how they're supposed to, it's all right. Okay, so I wanted to announce the winners for this part one of the quilt along for our giveaway. Just want to mention before I announce the winners that we will not send any prizes out until we have all 3 parts of the quilt along. So winners from all 3 parts. So we will not be sending anything out for another couple of weeks. So please don't start emailing, okay? If you're a winner. All right, so winners from the Instagram giveaway. So what you had to do there is post a photo of your progress. It didn't necessarily have to be finished blocks for the part 1. Just your progress. You had to use 2 hashtags, strip along 2022 and then striptease quilt. Then you also had to make sure to like our page, and then you got an extra entry if you tagged a friend. And you had to tag us in the post too. So our winner from Instagram is Miss Jerry Mime, and check out her post. I think we have 3 photos of her post. So she did in progress. Oh, I had 3 from her. Oh, all right. Well, she had 3 beautiful photos. She's using cottage blue, which was going to be beautiful. So Jerry, thank you so much. And then we have from Facebook. So for Facebook, you had to do a post in Gudrun's Quilt Crew, our group on Facebook, and use the hashtag stripalong2022 part 1. All one word. And our winner on Facebook is Miss Sandra Kleinschmidt, sorry. And so I think, didn't we have a photo of her post as well? All right, I did have that. I think she was using beautiful, it was a bee fabric, yellow and gold and black and gray. It was really cool. So congratulations, Jerry and Sandra. You will be getting some prizes from us, but not for a couple of weeks, and not until the whole strip along is over.
Oh, wait, hold on.
You got them? You found the photos?
There's only 1 of each.
Oh, okay. All right. That's okay. Did you find Sandra's? Did you put that up yet?
Hold on, let me see.
Getting rusty a little bit. Well.
I'm not going to say what's in the notes.
Okay, all right. Well, okay, that's okay. We can all go and see their posts, beautiful posts. But are you guys ready for part 2 of the strip along? So in this part, we're going to be working on block 2, which is going to be a piece of cake compared to block 1. So we're going to, of course, put the banner up so we know what we're starting. So that's going to help us when we watch this again. So strip along part 2. Woohoo! Here we go. So in part 2, we're going to be working on block 2, and in the pattern, there's of course 2 versions. There's version 1 of the quilt and version 2. So version 1, the block 2 is going to be explained in steps 3 and 4. For version 2, you're going to skip over 3 and 4 and only look for steps 5 through 7, 5, 6, and 7. If you're doing version 1, you skip over 5, 6, and 7. It's all explained in the pattern. All right? So the key ingredient in making block 2 is working with strip sets. And I'm going to give you a really great tip right off the bat for any time you're working with strip sets, because usually our biggest challenge working with strip sets is when we are ready, we sew them together, and when we're ready to start subcutting them, they're not completely straight. They're a little bowed, or they have a little wiggle, or right on the fold, you know, where the patterns are, when the strips are on the fold, there's a little elbow, or all kinds of things. So here's my best tip to you. Whenever I'm working with strip sets, most times, majority of the patterns, we don't really, if you're working with full length strips, which is selvage to selvage, we usually are not going to need the middle. So when I read through a pattern and I have to make a certain amount of strip sets, if I don't need that middle, I actually cut all my strips on the fold and I work with half width strips. Half width strips. Why? Because it's going to be a lot easier to keep them straight, and sometimes you can save fabric as well. So sometimes in a pattern you only use maybe 2 and then a portion of a strip set. So in that case you can get away with just making a half. So I write my patterns that way, but I always check if a pattern calls for full width strip sets, I can cut them on the fold. And so for both version 1 and version 2, you can do that. All right, so also another bonus for that, if you're doing something where you're mixing colors and mixing fabrics, you get more variety if you make half width strip sets, because you can make them and mix up the colors much better. Deal? So let me give you some tips. So we are going to start with version 1. And in that case, we are just taking our accent fabric, which in this sample of mine here is black, and we are making strip sets of 3 where we put the dark, so in version 1 of the pattern, you didn't subcut all of your dark strips into rectangles. You kept some full length because we were supposed to make strip sets. So for this pattern, you can definitely cut your strips on the fold and have more variety if you're doing just really scrappy, you're not really color blocking anything. So you're going to make the strip sets with 3 strips, and then pressing them, we're going to press away from the center, and then you're going to subcut these into the size of the blocks. And I'm going to show you the subcutting later, but I want to talk a little bit about strip sets, because moving into version 2 of the pattern, we are assembling that center part of the block, which is going to look like this in my block. So my peacock teal here is in the middle, and then I have gray as my medium. So we're going to be using our medium strips. So my gray is my medium, and so you will notice from when we started cutting, we did nothing with the medium strips if you're working on version 2 of the pattern. So in that case, we are going to sew the medium strips on each side of that accent fabric. So I always start by sewing 2 strips together. So I just sewed a gray strip to my accent like this, and I cut mine on the fold because I knew I didn't need the middle, so I love to work with them this way. So I'm going to press these towards my accent fabric, so I will set this on my ironing mat here with my fabric on top that I'm going to be pressing against. So don't worry, this is just a reenactment like in the movies. This is not a hot iron, I'm just giving you tips. So my cutting mat is safe. Believe that. So first off, I like to lay my strip set on my ironing surface, give it a little tug so it's laying perfectly straight. I go over it and set the seams with my iron. I always use steam. And then I'm going to fold this out, and I'm going to be using the fingers of my left hand, because I'm right-handed holding the iron, to push that seam out. What's important when we're making strip sets, we want to get all the fabric pushed out here and not leave any yardage in here. That means if we have a fold that gets a little crease like this, we lose 1/8 of an inch really quick. So I push with this hand, and then I just move straight along with my iron. Push, push, push as I go. And then I end up with a straight strip set. We don't want to use the iron to push like this, because then we start to get these little wiggles, because the roundness of the iron can start to create that, especially if you use steam. So this way I can keep my strips straight. I sew 2 together, and then it's time to add my third strip, which was here somewhere. Here it is. So I'm going to add the other gray strips on the other side, flip this on, and I sew. And this way, when you press one, you have plenty of room here. The reason why I do that, if I had both strips unpressed, there's just really hard to get in between and get these straight. So now that I sew this on, we end up with a fully sewn strip set with that accent color in the middle. All right, so now I'm going to flip this away and get to my cutting mat and bring out the main player, the stripology ruler. So starting with version 1 of the striptease pattern, I was just using some fun sacrificial strips that I had. So this is actually a weird length. It's not a full width strip, and it's more than a half width, so I don't know how I ended up with that. But whenever I am subcutting a lot of strip sets, I like to just lay them on my cutting mat. I'm using the lines on my cutting mat to lay them straight. And if you are daring, I'm not going to do that with this. If you have multiples, you can layer them, but I always make sure, so then I just pick a line down here and lay this next strip set straight on that. I always make sure that I see at least one seam of each strip set when I'm layering them. So I stagger them down so that you don't have them right on top of each other. So you can always see the seam lines. Because when it's time to lay the ruler on top, you want to make sure that you are using any horizontal lines. I'm using this white line. I'm going to remove this one. I'm using this white line to align with my seam, and I can adjust and fix my strips if they're not straight, because this is what really matters, not necessarily the edges of the strip. This is what matters more, is that this center is straight, then we know we're going to get pretty straight blocks. So now this is for version 1, starting by going through the 0, and we're just going to cut out our blocks. So you're able to cut with each swoop of the ruler, you're able to cut out 3 blocks. So this is another reason why I love cutting my strip set, my strips on the fold, and working with half-width strip sets, because it works so much better with the ruler anyway. Because when I'm working with full sets, I tend to fold them in half anyway to be more efficient. So you want to just cut your blocks down like this, and that's all there is to it for version 1 of the quilt. We just make strip sets and cut them down, and that's block 1 for you. Let's move on to version 2, and we have our strip set that is going to be the center of our blocks. So we're going to subcut these much smaller. Again, you can layer multiples at the same time and do the same thing. And we are also using a line on the ruler to align with the seams of the strip set. Making sure that all your salvages that you're going to cut off are to the left of that 0 slit where you make that first cut. And then we are just going to cut our units, following the markings on the ruler. We can just follow the black squares, which is beautiful. We don't have to think. And there it is. We have all of our units. So now it's time to assemble our blocks. And we have all of our rectangles from our dark fabrics. And you can, however planned you had in mind when you were planning out your quilt, I am color blocking my vertical rows and not necessarily having the same fabric on each side. I'm just doing blue blocks, so I try to mix it up and do different fabrics on each side. And so I'm doing 3 different colorways. So I would be doing the coral, the aqua, and then the beautiful greens. So I would always do different fabrics on each side. Now I see many of you like more organized and are color blocking the whole, or really fabric blocking, making the same fabric all the way around. If you do that, then you would really have to plan out your block ones to make sure that you have the right ones on each side. But this way I can just mix it up, and then I always make sure I put a different fabric when I would be laying out the blocks. So we never have the same fabric touching, and that's going to be fun. So same thing when I'm working with these. I tend to sew one side, so I can just chain piece all of those one side, and then I press, and we're pressing away from the center, and then adding that second unit on and pressing. And that is all there is to it. We make all the blocks we need, and then it's really just time for part 3 is the assembly of the whole thing. But let's see if you have any questions on part 2 or anything regarding the strip along. Do you see any questions, Mr. HP?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Questions, anybody? Questions?
All right, so I love that some of you are saying just love learning more tips on using the ruler. Somebody said never have seen cutting multiple strip sets with the ruler at the same time. Absolutely. And the beautiful thing is when you stagger them like this, if you make sure that you always have a line on the seams, that you are gonna, that ruler holds your strip sets in place versus when you were always moving a ruler. Remember that? Remember that when you had a little ruler and moving them every time? And it just keeps your strips really kind of in place and stable while you're doing your cuts. All right. If you want to have a diagonal color look, would you need to plan block 1? Yeah, probably, because you have to then decide if you're doing a diagonal color, you have to do the whole circle in one color. And because block 1 is the bottom of one block and the top of another, so then you would have to really plan those colors out. But that's easy to do because remember in the pattern there's coloring sheets, so you can just really plan that out very easily. So yes, we're pressing away from the center, and it's always a good rule when you're pressing, if you ever come across a pattern that doesn't have pressing instructions, when you have something that's pieced and then you're sewing it to something that's one fabric, you want to press away from the piece that is pieced, because that's going to minimize your bulk. If this folds over and then another fabric comes on top, there's more bulk. So it's always easier to press away from the pieced unit if it doesn't matter in the whole final layout situation. So good kind of rule of thumb. But I have pressing instructions in all of my patterns. All right.
You're awesome.
Thank you. All right. So great tip on the half width strips. Yeah, so just look through your patterns, whatever pattern you're using, whoever's pattern. If you really don't need to use that middle part, you can cut your strips in half and make your life so much easier, really. I'm actually working on my last quilt for my new book. It's a lot of strip sets. It's a perfect stash buster. I'm using my strips, 1.5 and 2.5 inch strips, and making lots of strip sets. And so I'm doing them all half width. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right.
No questions.
No more questions.
You do such a good job explaining.
Well, that's good. We love that. You're all good. So all that's left to do is just go on and sew. Get them done. And next week, part 3, I want to talk about the layout. I'm going to give you some tips on how I assemble my quilts. And so stick to that. Stick around for that. Do we square up block 1? You shouldn't need to square up anything. Really, you should not. They should come out even. If in case your units from the first step are like a little wonky out here, these blocks should be 6.5. So if they are larger than that, you can always trim them down, but they shouldn't be. They should be accurate. So how do you do strip sets that are not on the bias? Usually I don't do strip sets that are on the bias. So usually they're not on the bias. So I would, unless I was doing something cutting on the bias, I would not cut my strip on the bias to do bias strip sets. Okay, do we need, nope, you don't need to square up because the strips are cut accurate, your seam allowance should be good, so there's no need to square up. They are not oversized. Have you tried to do a pineapple block using stripology ruler? Yes. So I don't know if you know, but Creative Grids has numerous log cabin rulers, pineapple log cabin, like round log cabin rulers, and so they are presented with the stripology rulers, because if you're going to make a log cabin quilt, whether that's a pineapple or if you're doing any kind of stuff like that, you want to cut your strips with a stripology ruler. But yeah, I have done that. Question about the grab and go. Bear stabilizer. Which stabilizer to use? For the grab and go, when I originally made it, I used something called Craftex, but then back then they didn't have the soft and stable, that foam or stabilizer. So I use that for my grab and goes now, and I love it because they stand up better. I've done some with just batting, but they are a bit limp, but because it's such a big tote, you want it to stand up when you're putting stuff in it. So we love the soft and stable from Annie's. So by Annie, and you can get them from their website. Can you show cutting half widths? I just did, and I don't have another set, so you can just watch the show again. I showed you with the part 2. I showed you that was just subcutting the half widths. And so really what you would do when you have your strips cut, and you're going to make strip sets, and these are full width, you just take scissors and you just snip it on the fold. And so you're going to make, of course, if a pattern tells you you need to make 3 strip sets full width, you are going to end up making 6 half width. You're always going to double it. All right. Okay. We moving on? Cool, because I got some fun stuff to show you. Got some beautiful fabrics, and one new fabric company that we are starting to sell their fabric. It's a UK-based fabric company called Dashwood, and it's gorgeous. So we got their first line in, and this is a kids line. Well, it's an alphabet panel, but then we did a little 6-piece bundle with the prints. And what I love about it, it's just really, really unique colors. Just a different take on the alphabet. Kind of modern, fresh take on it. So let me show you the panel first. So it's a large alphabet panel, but I just love this. So this is called Playtime. The panel is sold separately. So we have A, it's for apple, B is for bees, C is the cat, D dinosaur, and we have E is the elephant. What's there? We have fish for F, Giraffe, house, ice cream. Johan says ice, ice. And then we have J, what's this? Oh, is this a jellyfish? Yes. K is for kite. Lemon, mountain, nest. We have owl. I just think it's so cool how they used pencil for the P. We have Q is the queen. Is this the queen?
Sleepy Queen.
And then rainbow, sun, tree, unicorn. And we have, what's this? Oh, this is V. Right? I don't know what that's supposed to be. Looks like tulips. Yeah, I don't know. What is it? Oh, vase. It's supposed to be a vase. Oh, come on. Come on. Vase, whale, xylophone, yacht, probably, and a zebra, or yeah. Yeah, could also be a snake because it says zzz, zzz. No. Maybe not. Okay, maybe not.
They go.
All right. Okay. Zebra. All right. Well, let me show you the prints that go with this line. So we put the panel is separate, and I could totally see this just putting some fun blocks around it and then quilting it up, and it could be great wall quilt for a kid's room. So here's those 6 prints. And I just really love these kind of subtle modern take on these colors. So we have this fun rainbow print, and then in this kind of a teal color, the fruit. We have a soft green. We have the numbers, and all of it coordinates. I love that all the colors are kind of pulled from each other. We have this fun geometric print, and then with all the shapes. So it's really well thought out. We have the scribbles, kind of as a directional, and then we have a really fun kind of a tossed alphabet with all of the same, well, actually some different ones. There's lion here, kangaroo, there's fun different ones. So 6 pieces are in the bundle, and then patterns, panel separately. I could totally see like making like Emma blocks and surrounding the panel with it. But I did do a fabric pull because these were just 2 fun colors. If you wanted to make some more stuff or add some neutrals in here, let me grab it. So I started with, I really just went with all the colors from the panel, pulling from all those. So started with the gold. I love the Bumbleberries custard because there's different shades of that gold, so it's pretty muted, so it gives a little punch, but nothing too much. Then there's this beautiful kind of a rose, dusty rose color, so I love this Deco Stitch Rosebud, also just a fun modern print. The soft green, I picked the Jack's Fur, because it goes kind of with the darker and the lighter. For the teal color, this would be really fun, the birthday confetti teal, because it has that fun element to it too. And then the darkest blue, the speckle, and the blueberry. And then I did the neutrals because there's quite a bit of gray, 2 different grays in here. I did the Jacks and the Peat, and then the Deco Stitch and the Shadow. And if you wanted more background, something that matches this, I chose the Spectra Static and the Dust because it has the exact same color and kind of the same feel as the background of this print. So I really love this, and I think this one is not going to stick around very long. What I'm excited about starting to carry, oh, did we put this up? Let's put this up. There it is, playtime, woohoo, fun, fun. The beautiful thing is that we can reorder a lot of these. So as I've tried to explain sometimes, fabric companies, once the fabric line ships to me, there's no more to be had. So I order it 6 to 8 months before it arrives. And then once it ships, there's no more. So if something sells out fast, I can't get any more. But what's beautiful with them, they most times we can get it, keep reordering it. So that's pretty awesome. Excited about that. All right, so our second bundle of the night is really nice and fresh, perfect for spring. So this one is called Leela. It's by Clothworks, and really a concentrated colorway of black, purples, lavenders, and greens. So beautiful florals, echinacea garden kind of. So we start with this black colorway. We have this awesome directional print with these colors in here. We have some polka dots, irregular, there's like little pebbles. And then we have a tone on tone, this really nice deep purple. Going into the purple colorway. And then love this one. Has lots of movement with that gray in there and shades of the lighter oranges. Oh, no, oranges, purples. Sorry. We have a lavender background here with the buds, flower buds, and those beautiful greens. I love these hues of green. Ranging from bright lime green into a deep olive green. Nice print here, connecting print with all of the greens and the purples and the lavenders. So then we go into more of here's the main print in that bright lime green. So vibrant. I love this. And again, that just big flower buds on that lighter green. We have the pebbles. Look how fresh this quilt would just bring in spring, summer, doesn't it? And here we see this beautiful olive tone. And then we have that directional print again in that darker olive. So I love the different hues of green, the different hues of purple, and that black background makes both of those colors just really, really shine. We have that main print here available in 1 yard and 3 yards as well. This would be gorgeous as a border or even as a back. So then my fabric pull, I started on, let's start on the black side. I just did a couple of blacks. If you wanted to get something more solid, that wave texture in the black, I love just a subtle movement, but a pure black, and then the spectrostatic black with just these little specks kind of blends really well. For the purples, I did 3 hues to kind of tie it together. The fireworks purple works perfectly with the deepest tone, and even the light color in here matches the light color in there. Then I love the dot matrix in the purple, that medium tone of purple, and then the floral elements in the lavender haze matches that light lavender perfectly. For the greens, we have, I started on the lighter end, so I love this flow in the fresh grass. Nothing too bright, but it's a really nice tone, and it has specks of even lighter and specks of darker. Then the thatched sprig is a perfect match with that medium green. And then I love the jot dot olive to bring in that olive tone, those deeper tones of that darker green. And we have a perfect diagonal plaid in that timber if you wanted to throw a plaid in there. Perfect tone in there, would be an awesome binding or sashing fabric. Now to add a background with this, if you wanted to do a quilt with the background, oh, Lucy would be awesome in this. Kira, something that you can make these prints really shine. I think I would not go too harsh of a white. I would probably stay in kind of a creamy version. So I like this spotted in the Celestial Moonbeam. The lighting is whitening it up quite a bit. Or the floral elements in the Winter Haze. So this is my fabric pull, and of course remember you can go to our blog, which has photos of our fabric pulls and with links to all of the the yardage that I pulled with it, so you can easily make your choices and see it better in actual colors, because we try and take that with natural light. So there it is. This is Leela. Love, love, love. Yeah, we have lots of fabric in the warehouse. Of course, me being out this past couple of weeks, it's been kind of low staff. They've been having to pick up my tasks too. So I think the receiving bay was covered in boxes, fabric boxes. So there'll be lots of new great stuff coming.
I love that combination of color.
The green, this is just a classic green and purple. It's just, you can't go wrong. Green and purple, and especially with that lime green, it just pops, makes everything pop. All right, so let's see if we have a live winner, Mr. HP.
Well, of course we do.
We do. Thank you for commenting and watching. Max Farwell. Congratulations, Max. You've won a $25 gift card. Send us an email to help@gequiltdesigns.com. and we will get you that gift card electronically so you can get to shopping as soon as possible. So, and here's your second chance to win, because I have a giveaway question. All you got to do is answer the question in the comments, and you are automatically entered for a giveaway, which will be announced. Winner will be announced next Tipsy Tuesday show next week. And here's my question. Does anyone else in your family quilt? I don't know if any of you are like me. I am the only quilter. I was the rogue one that started quilting. Of course, my sister got into it a few years later, a little bit, but I'm still the only hardcore quilter. Now, can we call all of my children have made a quilt, but do we call them quilters? Not really. No, Kayla has made a quilt, actually almost two, halfway to two. But I wouldn't call them quilters yet, even though Kayla and my son Gisli work with fabric every day. They are folding your fabric and cutting them. So, so I'm kind of the lone one. So I would love to hear how many of your family members quilt with you. And that's all you got to do to enter the giveaway. Our next show, Tipsy Tuesday, will be a week from now. Part 3 of the Quilt Along will be on May 10th, 7 p.m. Central. I can't believe it's May already. Like, time is flying by. And, like, spring arrived, and hopefully it'll be all on the up and up here in Minnesota from now on. 7 p.m. Central, May 10th. And then, of course, we will be live this Friday. Happy Friday, this coming Friday on May 6th at 3 p.m. And since Cinco de Mayo will be the day before, I think we're going to have a unique, fresh margarita recipe for you on Friday. But that's it for us tonight. Thank you all for watching. So happy to be back on Facebook, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.